Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, Mark, and thank you, everyone, for taking the time, to be on the symposium today. As Mark mentioned, my name is Roxanne Denon. I'm the Director of Marketing for 3C Farms. We are a Los Angeles-based collective. We have two retail dispensaries, one in downtown Los Angeles and one in Canoga Park, as well as a grow facility up in Sun Valley and a full line of products, including 33 strains in our library. We have been growing since the mid 90s. Our head cultivator started growing in the mid to late 90s. We are one of the purveyors of the original OG Kush strains. So we are an OG indica house born and raised in Los Angeles. Have had our license for our Canoga Park facility since about 2012, 2013. So we've been in it for a long time, and we're just happy to be growing as a cannabis business, especially here in Los Angeles, and to have an original pre-ICO license, which is our Canoga Park license, is really special to us because we've been here for a while, and we continue to have our business here, and we're only growing and getting bigger as time goes on. So I'm going to share my screen now and walk you guys through a little bit about what we're doing in terms of environmental sustainability, specifically surrounding our waste and our future. So if everyone can see my screen, this beautiful plant that we have growing in the back is really special to us. That's our high CBD strain. And she grows to be about 2 times as much CBD as there is THC there. So it's a really medically dense strain. We're really proud of it because it grows really big, like a great OG, but she smokes like a CBD. So this is a little bit more about our group that you can read on our website if you so choose to. It just goes over everything that I just said, which is, a little bit about us, how we got started, where we got started. Our specialty is really small batch indoor cultivation in grow rooms that are moderately sized. This really allows us to be specific about our temperatures, our humidity, our waste management, everything that goes into it. So while we're growing a lot of plants, it's all in very manageable kind of smaller rooms so that we don't have this just like big blow up space. And that allows us to get really beautiful flowers that are really dense in not only the cannabinoids, but also the terpenes, which are really, really important to the plant as well and to the end product. So a little bit about our commitment to environmental sustainability, because that's why we're all here today. We are really passionate about utilizing all of our resources. And our head cultivator, co-founder, Brian Schwartz, he started doing this before I think he even recognized how impactful his procedures and his methodologies were going to be in the future. This just kind of made sense to him as a person and as a good human. So this is the way that we've always grown our flower. And now that we're in 2021 and we're looking at environmental resources and trying to be more sustainable as humanity, we look back and we're like, wow, you were a little bit ahead of your time. So this is something we've been always doing and making sure that we are capturing as much of our runoff water as we can. So off AC units, there is always condensation. I'm sure we all know, living in Southern California, that your AC unit does rain, and we do collect that water. It's a clean water. It's a RO water. So we collect that water, we fill our reservoirs with it. And then we also, our reservoirs are where we put all of our water and all of our nutrients, and then that works through an ebb and flow hydroponic system. So we only use as much water as needed and as much nutrients as needed. Everything else goes into a feeding tray, which then comes out, and we recycle and reuse our water throughout our life cycle. This is all going to get explained a little bit further in the presentation. Once we are, using our water conservation, making sure that we're constantly reusing the water through the feeding cycle in our reservoirs. When we go to drain it, we are making sure that our waste management processes are just as good as our water conservation processes. So making sure that the pH levels are back to where they were when we first got it out of the tap, and then also to make sure that all the sediments from growing are removed. So all the unnecessary materials that don't need to go into our drains, that don't need to go into the ocean, we remove those, shop vac them out, and put them in and dispose of them in a different area. So that allows all the water that we are pushing out of our reservoirs and through the drains at the end of each harvest is very, very clean. So we are going to go, back one slide. Here we go. So this is Brian, our head cultivator, and this is in our bedroom at our grow in Tamarack, up in Sun Valley. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about the nutrients that we're using if my video decides that it wants to work, which hopefully it's going to. No. All right, well, I guess my video is not going to work on this, but it will be available. The presentations will be available, to my knowledge, after this. But really what we're talking about in this video is just making sure that the pH is stabilized. So this is our sample reservoir that you can see sitting on the floor, where there's lines coming in that's pumping clean water and nutrients into that. That's then being taken up, put into our feeding trays, and then when it's done doing the feeding, it goes back out through the outline, making sure the pH is stabilized, and then going back into the reservoir. We're refilling that reservoir with more water and more nutrients as needed, and then it's going, through the life cycle again. This is our reservoir tank room. You can see that Brian's standing in the middle of a long hallway, and the big tank that he's standing beside is what we call our reservoir. So you fill up your reservoir with the water and the nutrients as needed. And again, I'm sounding like a broken record now, where it's going out, it's coming back in, we're filling up as needed. And you can see some of the statistics over on the side of my screen that our water reservoir is used for every 100 plants. Only 25 to 30 gallons of excess water is drained from the reservoir at the end of every harvest, which is 9 weeks. So for the 100 plants, we're only disposing of about 25 gallons of water, which is pretty awesome. And then before the disposal, the pH is balanced back to tap water levels, and sediments are removed via our clarifier. This is our clarification, one of our clarification machines. It's a 25-gallon tank. So you can see that there's this pipe coming out to the left-hand side that's bringing all the excess water from the reservoir in. It's pulling the sediments to the bottom, and then the water is going out that drainage pipe. We then remove the sediments via shop vac, dispose of that in our landfill, and that makes sure that the water going into the ocean is pH balanced, and there is not a bunch of leftover crap in there, for lack of better words. So what we're doing in our future plans for environmental sustainability, always working closely with the LA Sanitation and Waste, making sure that anything we are doing that we're finding on our side could be beneficial, letting them know, and vice versa. We're also working on an energy conservation project with Southern California Edison right now. One of our rooms, they've installed all LED lights that are hooked up to monitors that directly go to the SCE contracted base. So they are monitoring what our energy outputs are, and things on that level. And then also on my side of things, being director of marketing, creative director, I'm always looking for ways to do or to find compostable and biodegradable packaging where it's available. The cannabis industry is very wasteful, as we know, with our packaging, and we're trying to do our part to make sure that that is not, where we're living. And then of course, conserving our water as we learn new methodologies. So this is our LED room with Southern California Edison. It's unfortunate that the video is not working, because Brian walks you through to show you exactly where all these lights are, what they're doing for us, and what the partnership is. So that's our brand in a nutshell, our company in a nutshell. You can reach out to us, www.3cfarms.com. Our Instagram handles are on there as well. And if anybody would like to reach out to me personally, you can find me, Roxanne, at 3cfarms.com. And thank you all very much for inviting me to be a part of this and thinking of 3C Farms. And we're looking forward to working with you guys in the future.